Alright everybody, I'm really hoping that this freaking works. I've got a new microphone, AUDIO-TECHNICA ATR3350xis. It's like $25, but it's a powered microphone. And I won't, from what I've read, I'm not going to get as much bike and road noise, but on the plus side, I'm not going to get as much bike and road noise. Now, when I'm trying to do some vlogging, it's they said it's really good at isolating the voice and keeping a lot of the road noise out. So we're gonna go out. Big girl here, and we're gonna get on the gas a little bit. We're gonna go and get on the highway, because this one has a lot of wind noise. With this taller windscreen, it puts the wind right in your helmet. So let's go and see how this works. I'm really hoping that shit works, because I just can't keep buying freaking microphones, and I refuse to go back to the DJI setup. Although there is a new DJI Action 4, but I don't know if it I don't know if the audio gain controls and noise canceling and all that shit is any better. When I look at the other vloggers that are using it, they're like, oh yeah, it works good. It's like they're either mountain bikers or, they're riding a BMW GS. And it's got stock exhaust, big tall windscreen, and they're not driving very fast. And it's like, okay. In that situation, maybe a less sensitive wired mic and the gain control, what little bit it has turned all the way down, might be enough. My problem was anytime I got over 30 miles an hour, I got a noisy helmet too. I could go and get a less noisy one. But the thing is, I'm not going to go spend, I don't buy crap helmets, so I'm not going to go spend another $600 on a helmet to fix a microphone issue. That to me doesn't seem to make good sense. So we're gonna see. Anyway, this week was pretty good. I got the new Google Pixel Fold, and I'm such an idiot. So I told my dad, hey, I'm gonna get Pixels like every 6 or 12 months, and he's a fan of the Pixels, and he's got like a Pixel 3 or 4. And I'm like, yeah, when I get a new one, you can have the old one, which will be years newer than the one he's got. And I'll just give it to you. Mine are always immaculate condition, and they're never going to be more than 6 to 12 months old. So I go and I get this thing, and we're at dinner last night for my birthday. And I mentioned the new phone. He's like, oh, does that mean you didn't get the old one? I'm like, oh, I was hoping you're going to forget about that. But of course he remembered. I'm like, yeah, just give me a couple days. So anyway, so I'm sitting there and I'm like, I love the phone so far. It's a little heavier than, you'd normally want in a phone, but the fact that it opens up into like an iPad mini, but it's still just a normal Google phone on the outside. It's a really cool thing. But there is a downside to the form factor, which is finding cases that cling onto it well. And so I did a whole video showing how all that stuff works and where cases might be hit or miss. And it's not to do with the phone, it's just when you have a phone that has that shape and the way that it has to open, the case part that covers the front can only really cover it on 3 sides. And normally a case, needs to wrap around, and the lip of it's slightly smaller than the phone, so the phone has to kind of press and stretch it, snap in, and then it springs back and it grips it. And because it's all the way around and it's unbroken, it clamps onto it. But you can't do that when you're only covering 3 sides, because you got the hinge on the other side. So it means that the case has got very little material, and it's flimsy, and it kind of moves around and doesn't fit the way you're used to. So I was like, you know what, before I format my dad, the phone I'm going to give to my dad, the Pixel 7, which I think I've only had for like 3 months. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to use that to do a much better video than the unboxing I did, because the unboxing I was using the Insta360. I had it at 1080p. The lighting wasn't good. It was too zoomed out, so when I cropped in, then it made it kind of less than 1080p, and I just wasn't happy. That was not my normal quality. So I was like, you know what? I am going to I'm going to redo it with his phone, which will give me really good. I'm going to do it at 4K HDR. It's going to be awesome, really, because I want to show off how good the screen looks. Even though it's a foldable screen, it looks like an iPhone screen. I mean, it's amazing looking. So I get all done with like a 15-minute video doing it right. I'm like, cool. And then I go and reset his phone to get it ready for him, and I'm like, just as it's resetting, I'm like, I am such a dick. It's like I forgot to upload the freaking video. I was like, how the hell did I manage to do that? So, yeah. Anyway, see what else has been going on. Well, dinner last night, we went to this place called Bare Bones Steakhouse in Buford. A little pricey, but not crazy pricey. Really good food. And found out my birthday present from my wife is we're going to Maui for, I don't know, 8 or 9 days. And then in November, and we're going to be on Maui. And I'm like, and I remember mentioning something, I'm like, you know, Lost was filmed more over on Oahu and stuff like that. Like I found on Google Maps where the beach was, where all the survivors were camped out, and the waterfall, you know, all the. So she signed us up for an all expenses paid trip. So we're going to take the puddle jumper from we're going to be at Maui for a few days. Then we're going to jump on a little plane, take a 40-minute flight over to Oahu, and we got a nice hotel and a car and all that stuff, and we'll hang out on Oahu for the day. And then the next day we have a whole day tour. They're going to come pick us up, drive us around all the movie locations, the beach where Lost was filmed, the waterfall, all the cool places that they went and filmed it. We're going to get a, you know, like a kind of cool personalized tour, which is awesome because that's my favorite show of all time, so that'd be really cool. So yeah, so that's gonna be fun. I gotta make sure I got camera and memory cards and all that shit, because I'm gonna try to get some really good video of all that. Let's see, what else is going on? Well, nothing. This is more of a sound check. I don't even know if you're even going to hear this. If it's good, I mean, I do tend to post these things up because I want to hear other people. It's like, I think it sounds good, or I think it doesn't sound good, but it's good to hear what other people think as I try to improve things for the channel. Never noticed there was a dentist right there. So, yeah, going to see Lost will be neat. Christ, what is with all this friggin' traffic, man? It's 3:49. I guess I'll edit out all the boring parts, which would be most of it, most of my ride. I want to get somewhere where I can get the revs up, and then I'm going to get on the interstate for just a little bit, just enough to get up to highway speeds and maybe a little more, and see what how the wind noise affects it. The wind noise affects it. Douchebag. Gotta follow this jerk off. The wind noise is worse than the engine, honestly, most of the time. It's like anytime I go out and it's like I have to do something at speed, that's immediately when I just get stuck behind everybody. It'll be just rush hour traffic when it's not rush hour. Thank you. I should probably think of something to talk about if I want to check out noise levels and if it distorts my voice. Alright, someone throw out a topic. Okay, excellent choice, Cameron. What's a good example of female privilege? Well, there's a lot of things you could talk about with female privilege. Divorce laws, the fact that they expect you know, mostly the guy will pay. Divorce laws that just assume the woman's going to get custody and probably alimony and the house and half of your future earnings and use that money to subsidize the relationship with the new dude she's banging. There's that automatic assumption in most women's mind. But you know what the one that really chaps my ass? Not the one that could cost you a lot of money. The whole toilet seat thing. That to me, I think, is the pinnacle of female privilege. And I've had this discussion with my wife. And she's like, why is it such a big deal just to put the toilet seat, you know, not leave the seat up? And it's like, I normally don't anyway, because I don't want the dogs drinking out of the toilet, right? It's bad enough they lick their buttholes and then want to give you kisses. So I don't leave it up anyway. But it's more just the fact that there's this expectation that I, as a woman, were I to be a woman, let's say I'm going to identify as a woman for the sake of this argument. They're like, well, you know, we end up falling in the toilet. And as a guy, I go, why don't you look down before you sit? Well, I'm playing with my phone. It's in the middle of the night. I'm tired. I don't care. Like, what does that have to do with anything? Like, as a person, you just assume that I can sit down without looking where I'm sitting and that everything will just be perfectly set up for me. I don't do that on the toilet. I don't do that when I get into my car. When I go to sit on a restaurant, I look to see if there's someone spilled ketchup or mustard on it. I don't want to sit in it. Or a french fry. Or anything like that. So it's like, I don't tell others, hey, you must prepare the seat for me, because my time is so precious and I am so busy, I cannot be expected to look down before I sit. I am above such things. And to me, you know, it's like guys never make this claim, and guys sit down to do number two. So to me, that is like absolutely female privilege, where a woman demands, you know, saw a Babylon Bee article, strong independent woman requires man to put down toilet seat so she literally doesn't fall in. And I'm like, if you're worried about falling into a toilet, stop being lazy. Open your goddamn eyes and look. And don't just assume everybody else is going to prep it for you. That's my thought on the whole toilet seat. To me, it's, and I'm not bitching about it with my wife. I mean, she's like, whatever, but like women in general, like, they're getting incensed about that. It's like, how arrogant is that? That I should never have to look down before I sit. The seat should just be ready for me and prepared. Like, well, that's a good way to get your ass wet. Or sit in ketchup. Or you go to sit in your car and you didn't look and you sit and you break your sunglasses. So, like, there's all these logical reasons that to me, to a guy, makes sense, you know, to look down before you sit. But then you see so many women that are just like, no. So, good question, Cameron. Anybody else have any questions they would like me to answer as I search for things to talk about so I can analyze my voice later? What do I think about the, good question, Jake. What do I think about the phone overall, the new one? I mean, it's a Pixel. And, you know, I have discussions with Apple fans all the time. I see things scrolling by on Facebook. And it's like, you know, will Apple ever come out with a foldable? And everyone's immediate, no, they shouldn't. It's a gimmick. It's this. It's a bunch of crap. And it's clear that that person has never, ever used a foldable. There's a lot of cool things about foldables. I like the Samsung one that I had. And honestly, I really wish that Google would... I've got the Google Pixel Fold right now, but if Pixel came out with a flip, I'd probably sell the Fold and get that. Because it's just that much smaller. Although I do like the idea of having a tablet. I just like playing with tech. But it's got a great... the pixels are just awesome. The software experience, I mean, everybody talks about the thing about Apple as well. You know, they design the software and the hardware to go together as a unit. It's just so more polished. Yeah, that's what a Pixel does. And in so many ways, Android is out ahead of Apple. Apple makes a phenomenal phone. I actually like iPhones. I love iPads. I love, love, love my MacBook. But the phone experience has always made me kind of, take it or leave it. Sometimes there's nothing else interesting going on in the Android world. If it's a little stale that season, I'm like, I'll go with the iPhone. And then I remember all the reasons why I ditched the damn iPhone. And there are many. You know, they're not good at multitasking. The menu system and the settings system is an absolute freaking train wreck. The fact that it's 2023 and you cannot set up your desktop the way you want. You can't put your icons anywhere you want. So if you got like a really cool wallpaper or something and the focal point is in the middle and you want to have the icons around it, you know, maybe it's your kid's face, your dog's face smiling at you, and you don't want Angry Birds logos and icons, you know, everything covering it up. You can't do that. You could put things in folder, but you still have to go left to right, top to bottom, no gaps. And to me, it's just like little shit like that. The fact that I can't change the fonts, the fact that I can't change the layout. It's just so many little things like that. And the fact that getting into the settings and stuff is an absolute disaster. Apple has not really spent any time on that, and it's been atrocious. They just keep adding shit to it. And it looks like that one guest room that has never actually had a guest stay in it. And every time you have something like, well, just stick it in a corner in there, we'll worry about it later. That's exactly the design language and approach they've taken to their settings menus. And it's atrocious. It's like if I worked at Apple and if I was on any of the teams that dealt with that, I would be embarrassed every time someone goes in there. And Android, especially the Pixel, man, it's just got this clean, elegant way of doing things. And you get all the extra features, and so I see the foldable technology is taking off. Google tends to be a bit more conservative. It took them a while to come out with the phone after everybody else. They started with the operating system, but they didn't start leasing their own phones till years later. And then the same thing with you know, some of the tablets, the same thing with watches and earbuds. But Google's really getting into the hardware business, and they're taking it seriously. And this new Pixel Fold really is a cool phone, other than the design, which makes the cases hit or miss. You got to get the right design case. And hopefully I'll have one or two tomorrow that'll be better than what's on it right now. But yeah, seeing these idiots just, oh, it's just a gimmick. No, it's not. Oh my God, there's a crease in the screen. Yeah, so? You don't notice it when you're using the phone. It's only when the screen's at an angle and you're looking at a black screen and in the reflection you can see the warp. You can see the, but it's not like it's deep. It's just a very slight. And when you're using the phone and it's turned on, you don't even notice it. You're just amazed that, wow, I can have email open on one side and be on a Teams meeting on the other, or be doing YouTube while I'm working on a spreadsheet. It's awesome. I think foldables, as the technology gets better and better to the point where they get something that like rolls up instead of folds up, I think there's just, in the next 5 years, you're going to see some really, really cool stuff. I mean, from the first foldable that came out to where they are now is night and day different. The quality of the screen, the graphics are just amazing. You got 120 hertz refresh rates. OLED panels, I mean, it's just, they're really good looking. They just fold. They look like a normal screen that just folds. And I think eventually Apple will be on the bandwagon, because at some point, everyone's going to be, I mean, Oppo, Huawei, OnePlus just announced a foldable. Now you got Google, you got Samsung, you got Motorola with the Razors. Almost everybody's going to be offering one. And they're like, oh, nobody buys these things. As that asshole almost hits that fucking... Oh, never a dull moment. Alright, let's see. I'm going to get up to some speed here. I'm going to keep the speed down for a second so I can really get on the gas and hear how it sounds. Voice testing. We are at 86. I'm going to continue talking about phone stuff because I like that stuff. So, oh yeah, I'm getting some extra wind from that truck too. I mean, maybe a quieter helmet would help, but the problem is the quiet helmets don't flow as much air. This thing's got a bunch of holes and scoops that are making it slip through the wind less because it's grabbing air and blowing it through the helmet. The downside of that is it makes it kind of noisy in the helmet. A lot of people listen to music or put in headphones and stuff, but if my ears are picking it up, so's the microphone. That's always the problem. Alright, I don't think there's anything in that other lane. I'm gonna cut over here. Zone services. All right. A little over 135 in third. See how bad the wind noise was. I don't want to stop. I don't want to get in an accident at that speed, and I certainly don't want to get a ticket or arrested. So I want to hear how the wind does, but it would be kind of cool if I could get, I want to get up to a speed and talk to simulate, like, what if I was doing a track day. What would be awesome is if this microphone actually works. I want to say it was like $27. And it's better than the $100 ones, maybe. Find out. Yeah, I've got so much wind noise right now. I don't even hear the motor of the bike barely. Like right now. Alright, so we're at 100. Sound check, sound good. Hopefully, maybe. It's loud as shit in my ear. I said my ear, Cameron. They're going to get some more rain tonight, but tomorrow's supposed to be about 90 and okay. And then rain on Sunday, so probably going to take the Yamaha out tomorrow. Testing purposes only. I wouldn't recommend speeding, you know, for the sake of speeding. Alright, we're going to head back to the house and see what we've got. Ooh, 3D mammogram. I'll leave the camera running. Just in case there's anything interesting. The bear runs out in front of me like that one time. The entire day I had the camera rolling, except that one little stretch of road because I'm like, oh, this road's boring. And I almost got hit by a bear. No, Jake, not that kind of bear. Not the one at the clubs you run into. An actual bear. And I need to do a review of gear. Someone asked me about what gear I use and why and all that stuff. So I'm thinking of going and doing a video about that. Like if I'm up in the mountains tomorrow, I'll be wearing my A-Stars textile jacket with all the upgraded armor, and then a pair of, they're not track pants, they're not leather. But they are decent pants, it'll give me some protection. Zip up to the jacket, all A-Stars, A-Stars glove, A-Stars boots. There's times that I wear leather. About to take off. Of course there'd be a cop. But yeah, go through the different kinds of gear. Because I mean, you gotta have different gear for different riding scenarios. Like, what kind of leather do you want? I'm looking for something that says Daddy likes leather.